So I've got this new trauma and loss series I'm doing on YouTube, but I wanted to get on here because I know not everybody likes YouTube. Some people just like TikTok. And I wanted to get on here and post some questions because while I was doing a video today and thinking about it, an interesting question came up, which has to do with trauma and loss. And what do you do, or how do you cope with knowing that your everyday daily activities are directly related to your trauma? Now, I had a few different examples I could think of for me personally, but one just popped into my head, and I thought, okay, this is something I'm meant to share then. So I don't talk about it ever. Years ago, I was working a job. I had been there for multiple years. I loved my job. Another company came in and took over. They shuffled everybody around, and I got moved to a department where I was kind of the newbie. I didn't know anybody. It was completely different than the things I was doing before working there. And in being there, well, you have to, get to know the people you're working around and the people you're working with, and different characters and personality types. And the department I'd been in before was a little bit more professional, and the one I was moved into was more remote. It was a lot of moving around and going different places, and every day you could have a completely different team member with you or around you, and there could be 4 or 5 of you here and 3 of you over there. And so I got up, and you just did what you had to do every day. So I went into work, and there was a young man that had been there, and he was very charismatic and outgoing, and that was fine, but extremely ridiculously flirtatious. And as a woman, we understand that there's a balance between playing along enough that they are just pacified and not engaging too much, because then they get the wrong idea. And it was one of those situations where he was pretty aggressive. At some point, he started to get more aggressive. And what had happened was he'd been, easily catching other people's attention, but I was not participating in that. And so it was a challenge, and for some people, and these are all different situations, guys. Everybody has different personality traits. But for him, I felt like, I love a challenge, and I'm going to accept this challenge. It was not meant to be a challenge. It was meant to be a really nice, no, go away. But I was at work, and he attacked me. And he did so in front of another coworker who was a friend of mine, but he'd also been moved to this department with me and was kind of a newbie too. So what ended up happening was that HR came in and got involved and asked everybody the questions, and all the people that thought he was sweet and funny and cute and harmless defended him, and it was me and my other coworker were the only ones on my team as far as he witnessed it, but his witness testimony was not taken as to be as valuable as all the people that were defending him. There was a lot of other things going on there, whether you want to say it was bias for males, females, all that. I don't know. I just know how I felt, and I know how I was treated at that job. And so from then on, it was understood that if I saw him or if he was in the same room as me, that one of us would just have to leave. It was really bad. There was no safety. I had no ability to feel safe or be safe, because of the situation, the circumstances of the type of job I was doing, that I was always going to be moving around the facility. It would be random, and I would be, so I got really stressed out every day, and I started having panic attacks at work. I started having panic attacks before work, and just becoming extremely sick. I was completely ill. I had spent years at this company and loved my job, and had worked through the company swap, and those are always difficult, and people always drop like flies, and there's all kinds of drama, and I'd worked through that, and I'd pushed through it, and I'd gone through it, and I hadn't complained, and I just kept going and kept going and kept going, and I felt like it was all just, they just couldn't care less. And that, you want a level of justice that gives you a feeling of safety and security. You want a level of care. You're not asking your company to hold your hand and babysit you. That's not right, and it's kind of insulting. But then your day-to-day activities become directly related to your trauma. So I wanted to share that story to see if you had similar stories, because I think that we don't talk about it too much, how getting up every day and doing your routine can suddenly become triggering. And I want to know what you all think about that. I want to know if you all have things like that. Are there new routines and new rituals you're going to try to help heal from trauma or to help heal from a situation? I know there's a lot of different examples of where this can apply. If you've been through a divorce and your day-to-day routine looks completely different, but it can be triggering in a lot of ways to just go about your day. So I want to open this up to discussion. If you'd like to go to YouTube, Manifest Life Flow, and check out my trauma and loss series. I'm trying to load up week 2 now. I missed a week because there was some major stuff going on with the family. You know, some of you may or may not know, our family had a house fire. There has been a loss and a death, and the family who survived are recovering and in healing. And so there's been a lot of stuff going on back in the background here, and it's really hard to keep up the routine, but I've got week 2 going, and I'll be editing videos and posting that. There's also some worksheets that are for free, manifestheal.com, to go with them. I encourage you to get involved. Absolutely comment and let me know something or a story about how you've personally changed your routine or your daily rituals to help you heal from trauma. So, hope you're having a great day. Love you all. Bye-bye.